Alright everybody, today we are going to expose the Safe Schools program. This program is very satanic. It is very interesting, like that, the Baphomet, all this, disgusting. We have a lot of things. This is affecting schools, almost every school across Australia, and it is promoting communism. As like, I think down here, if you actually search up safe schools, you see a lot of things going on. Now, Gary Dobson, he's a creep. Why? Because he wants a pedophilia should be part of the gay movement and must be legally recognised as a wider sexual liberation. Gary Dobson, safe school, go away, please. And Gaga, we don't want your communism. Communism is just bad. Now, I'll give you a video that will expose this program in detail. Fiction Media.
Hello everyone and welcome to Vera Media. Safe schools, or unsafe schools as I'll refer to it from now on, is one of the many threats facing families in this ever-confusing world, and a topic that has become a hot-button issue recently, particularly in light of the same-sex marriage debate. But what is it all about? Well, I had a look at some of the unsafe schools material, and I hope to now show you how this program poses a danger to your child. Whether you are a current or future parent, you should be extremely worried about the slow creep of this cunning but divisive program into our education system. To gain a better insight into the likely direction something may go, you must always look to where it has come from, its origins and foundations. So in October 2010, La Trobe University's Australian Research Centre in Sex, Health and Society, in conjunction with Gay and Lesbian Health Victoria, launched an Australian Safe Schools program built on the Kevin Jennings model of pushing radical left-wing sexual ideology under the guise of anti-bullying. The director of La Trobe's ARCSHS at the time was Gary Dowsett. Now, most of you would have never heard of him before, and advocates of unsafe schools work overtime to distance this man from the program. But Mr. Dowsett is not someone you would want anywhere near your child, let alone the head of a department that is formulating a curriculum that your child could be potentially exposed to. Why? Well, Mr. Dowsett has a long history of worrying views and attitudes towards sexual relationships between men and boys, pedophilia. In 1982, he authored an article titled Boiled Lollies and Band-Aids, Gay Men and Kids, for the journal named Gay Information, in which he is on record as stating the following. First, we have 3 legal and social questions to win: custody rights for gay men and lesbians, the legal right of pedophiles and their young loves, and finally, the sexual rights of children as a whole. This is one of the many disturbing statements made by this man, and I have linked others below should you wish to look into them further. What is important to note about Mr. Dowsett, however, is that the Unsafe Schools program was launched from a department at La Trobe University under his direct tenureship. So, whilst his name does not appear on the official documents, as head of the department of a government-funded initiative, he would have undoubtedly been an influencing force in some way. The second important individual you should know about is Ros Ward, one of the architects and coordinators of the Unsafe Schools program in Victoria at the time of its launch in 2010. Ros is an unapologetic communist and is on record as stating at a Marxism conference in 2013, "I not only teach people how to be gay, I teach them how to be gay and communist, so invite me to your school if you will." Her far-left view of the world was one of the key ideological drivers of the Unsafe Schools program, and should tell us immediately that anything Ros is leading towards will definitely go beyond bullying and discrimination. And if you don't think there is anything wrong with her communist leanings, look at life in the Soviet Russia during the 20th century, or North Korea in our modern times, and you will see that communism does many bad things to a country. So in terms of the origins of safe schools, you essentially have, in my opinion, a pedophile sympathiser and a communist both endorsing and formulating an education program for children, and people wonder what could go wrong. So we have looked at the Unsafe Schools program's dodgy foundations. Now let's look at some of the documents themselves, all of which can be found in the links below to verify what I'm about to say. The Unsafe Schools program was partially government funded and attached to the Australian curriculum for health and PE. It uses its official cover to skillfully mask itself as an anti-bullying and diversity promoting program. But it is not. What it is indoctrination and propaganda. Just a simple look at the Year 7 to 8 curriculum guide, All of Us, reveals that students are taught about same-sex attracted experiences, bisexual experiences, transsexual experiences, and intersex experiences, with each class being roughly formatted around watching a video, group activities, and then discussion. Let's take a look at Lesson 2, Same-Sex Experiences. After watching a video based on an individual's same-sex experience, the students partake in an activity that involves the class being split into two, with one half essentially having to role-play being in a same-sex relationship, followed by answering a series of questions based on this experience. Lesson 3, focusing on bisexual experiences, follows a similar line as Lesson 2 and goes out of its way to make the students, most of whom who wouldn't be bisexual, feel guilty and ashamed of the bigoted world they live in. The lesson also implicitly implies that we all have two virginities, and that in actual fact, someone's sexuality, as stated in the curriculum, is made up of their feelings, behaviour and identity, and that we shouldn't make assumptions about any of these things based on anything else. This is total garbage, and I want you to follow closely what's happening here. The students are being told that both gender and sexuality are separate from an individual, and that this separation is based on feelings and emotions, not fact or science, all the while passing as an anti-bullying program. This is very dangerous, but a consistent theme within this program, and is founded on nothing more than radical leftist ideology, but is being passed on as fact and truth to the unknowing students. Finally, the trans experience continues with this ideological push by further presenting the idea that there is no clear distinction between men and women, that your sexual organs do not define your gender, and that transitioning from male to female is perfectly normal. This is so dangerous and should not be encouraged, as emotionally unstable teenagers who are going through a rough time may be convinced that becoming a male or a female will suddenly resolve all the issues and will be the key to their happiness, when the statistics show that it does not make them happier, but in actual fact leads to an increased chance of suicide. No wonder Victoria has seen a 360% rise in gender dysphoria cases since the introduction of this Unsafe Schools program. A point I believe worth noting is that this type of material is being taught to Year 7 and 8s, 12 to 14 year olds, and I'm sure we all remember at that age what it was like and how confusing it could have been. So in my opinion, I believe this has been purposely done in order to take advantage of this unstable phase, not to help it as these people are saying. Now, I want to make something clear. I am totally against bullying in all its forms, and I am fully aware that LGBT issues are a reality for many in our schools. So I can understand how the idea of an Unsafe Schools program might sound okay to some people, but this isn't the answer and goes well beyond anti-bullying and into the realm of left-wing indoctrination. Why can't bullying of LGBT students be addressed in other existing anti-bullying programs that cover all forms of bullying? Why not have a separate out-of-class program run by professionals? Why are students being exposed to unscientific theory about gender and sexuality under the cover of health and PE? I can guarantee that a vast majority of parents would not want their child exposed to the material associated with the sexual preferences of a tiny minority. These parents are not bigots or homophobes. They just don't want that for their children, and there is nothing wrong with that. On a side note, Victoria recently got rid of its special religious education in state schools but retained unsafe schools, even though a much larger proportion of any school population would identify as religiously affiliated over LGBT. Official left-wing ideology, anyone? Finally, the advocates for unsafe schools consistently deny the accusation that they are pushing radical gender and sexual theory. This is a blatant lie. Whilst the curriculum only implicitly pushes gender theory, its additional material outside the curriculum consistently challenges the traditional idea of gender and pushes the idea of gender fluidity. Another question I quickly want to address is, how is unsafe schools connected to same-sex marriage? This is simple. A safe schools type program will become part of the PDHPE curriculum through its sex education component, as LGBT lifestyles will be required by law to be taught in the same light as heterosexual ones. Finally, Australia, we don't need unsafe schools in our classrooms. It is not about bullying or diversity, but it is part of a wider radical left-wing push to radically change our society and undermine our nation. Parents, stay aware and keep your children away from this damaging material. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoy this material, follow us on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter.
Well, that's it, everybody. Anyway, people, I think this is about the end of the video. I'm just gonna say that YouTube, right? YouTube wants to censor people out. You've seen this censorship going on. It's ridiculous. I'm sick of it, and I want it gone. And they want to censor people out to control people. And I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. When you are subscribing, make sure you put the notifications on. Oh goodness, doesn't even say the notifications. Okay. Where is the notifications? Yeah, make sure when you're subscribing, make sure to turn the notifications like on. Also, fan me on YouNow. You can actually make your own YouNow account. This is Google Plus. You can follow me on there. There's not really much there. Patreon. You can also follow me on there. This page here. Yeah, it's just that there's a problem because Facebook and YouTube have been stuffing up lately on me, and I think I've been having trouble with the audio here. Yeah, make sure to follow my Twitter too. I pray you're all having a great day.